Alright, welcome back to lesson 7. In lesson 5, we created a children's book. Now let's create an full educational book design. So we have an educational book inspired by, I saw this online also, and I have all the details, so we can create something similar to that. We have the font, Montserrat font, Antonio font, and then we have the title. So we're not going to use any image, just text and some shape. So create new, and we are going to use 254 inches, 8.5 by 11, 300 resolution, and we have our size. Now we can start drawing shape. So something like this, you will be using a lot of rectangular shape, so we are not using any image. So let's draw out a rectangular shape. We're going to have different color at the top and another color, and then we are also going to use some lines. We can import an image that has lines in it, and yeah, let's use those stripes. So that's the only thing that we are going to use. We are going to import our stripes, and then we are going to put that on top of a shape so that it looks like we have a line on the book cover. So I'm going to select the rectangular tool, and I'm going to draw out a rectangle, maybe the lower 1/3, and I'm going to give it a color. So maybe increase that a bit. And I'm going to double click and select a particular color, or let me just type in this color 5B913D, and then I have that color. So now the top is going to be white, and then the lower 1/3 is going to be that green, kind of navy or whatever. So I'm going to import these stripes, and I'm going to put it, drag it into like so, and paste, and we can resize and drag that. Let's drag that below the shape, and we can drag that below the shape, and let's draw out a white rectangle at the top. So we have a white rectangle at the top, the green, and then we have the stripes. So now we need to, so what I want to do is I want to drag the stripes, maybe the green, drag it to below the stripes. So, and I am going to reduce the opacity of the stripes so that it looks like we have a stripes on the green. So let's reduce that to about, let's say 4%, like so. And you can see, and if we can also right click, raster, right click, smart object, so that we can change that anytime that we want. And now you can see we have something like that. If you zoom in, you see what we have. So now we're done with that. Let's bring out the guide and then put that on the left, and then put another one on the right. Now we're going to start adding text, the title, the subtitle, and then some other codes. So now let's bring out the text tool, and then let's copy the title, the ultimate handbook. So the ultimate, So I'm going to type copy the ultimate, and I'm going to paste the font, the size, double click that, and you can resize that. And I'm going to make sure that it's actually touching both guides. You can double click that and maybe use the character panel. So let's type in the other one, and then we can work on the size later. So, and book. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put and on one layer and then the book on another layer. So we have three layers. So we are going to fill this with and of course you can always duplicate that and Control J or Command J, and then we can drag the other one, then we can drag it down and change that to book, B-double-O-K, and change that to book, and now I think I'm going to leave it like this. On the right side, this point, I'm going to put maybe a cycle there, and then you'll see what I'm going to do in a bit. So let's continue with the other details. Let's copy the other details like the author name and then the author details, and we are going to put that right here, and then the author name here, and then the quotes, the notes, we are going to put that at the bottom. So let's copy the author name, and the text tool, and then we're going to put that here, Gary, double click that and change the size. Just scrub and change the size to maybe 24, and then drag and make sure it's touching the guide. And the other details, author of the spirit is winning but the flesh is. Control C, Command C, then paste the Control V, Command V, and we can reduce the size to make sure that it's not too, and it's actually touching. Yeah, maybe 10 will be okay. Or we can use we can maybe make it lighter, and then we can just make sure it's not all caps, and then you can see it actually reduces, and then we can maybe increase the size between the characters, and then we have something like that. So we can come back and work on that later. So we can maybe use the arrow key, bump it up a little, then select both, and we can drag them together. Then these three we can so now the subtitle, let's copy the subtitle, and we can put that somewhere here, and then paste that here and paste it here, and then increase the size, and then maybe put that in 2 lines, then put a break there, just click on enter, and then not all caps, increase the size, and then the size between the 2 lines, use this to increase the size between the 2 lines, and then the distance between the characters, and then we double click and change the color to maybe white, and we are done with that. This is so much better. So now the notes, let's copy the notes, and then we'll paste the notes right under that. So Control V, and then double click, and then of course we need to change it to light, but we're still using the same font, and I'm going to reduce that to drag it, make sure it's touching the guide, and then maybe remove the star, or I can leave the star or remove the star, it doesn't matter. And I'm gonna check that and leave the color white, then space it out and move that. So now that we have that, the last test is right there at the top, so we can so I'm going to put 2021, which is the is an academic book 2021, so I'm going to put 2021 right here and check, and I'm going to move that down a bit, and then the book, select the 3 title, so the quotes, I'm going to put that on the right side of the year. So I'm going to copy that and select the title, and I'm going to paste it here, double click and drag it to the top, make sure it's right on top of 2021, so that way it's easy for us to actually group all the different things together. And we can uncheck that and increase. So the next line is the other details, which is John Jones, author of. So I'm going to copy everything and I'm going to paste it there, and I'm going to make that even more smaller, so maybe 10, and then drag it up and check. And now so what I want to do is I want to create something like a stroke on the edge of the book, and I can do that with by creating a new layer, and on that layer I'm going to select the rectangular tool and I'm going to fill the whole fill like this, and so I'm going to make the fill 0, so and I'm going to add a stroke, so it's going to be a stroke on the edge like so, and I'm going to give it a color so you can see what I'm trying to achieve. So it's like trying to put a shape on the edge of the book, and you can increase the size like so. And you can click OK. So now I'm going to draw out another rectangle. I'm going to put it right under 2021, and I'm going to drag that to give it this particular color, give it the same color, and drag that below, or I can drag 2021 up above, and then So I'm going to change the color to white and click on OK. So, and we are done with that. So I can maybe nudge it a little bit to the right and it's okay. So the next thing is to put like a best-selling badge. So I can increase the size of that shape if I wanted, but I'm going to leave it as it is. So the next thing is to put like a best-selling badge right beside the "and" book. So we are going to find like a badge shape, or we can use something like a seal shape, and it's right there in the custom shape. So I'll go into the shapes in the custom shapes and I'm going to use this one. So this is a seal shape, maybe not the best one to use. You can go online and find something like a badge, but I'm going to use this one because it works. So, and I'm going to draw out and I'm going to give it a color, maybe like a pink. Double click and maybe a color like that, and or I can add a specific color, CE3572, and then we have that color. I can resize and then I can put, I want to make sure that it's actually touching the guide on the right, but it actually fits into the middle of the "and" book, something like that, and it looks good. And on top we are going to add some text. So let's add the #1 best-selling study guide. We are probably going to put that in different. So #1, we'll put that on a layer and then the best-selling on another layer. So select the text tool and then paste it there, double click and resize. So now I'm going to use another font. So this is one of the times where I use more than 2 fonts when I'm dealing with a badge like this. So I'll make sure the font that I'm using on the badge is different from the font that I've used so far for the title and for the other details. So I'm going to change this font to Antonio. Or shall I use another font? Okay, let's use this font for now, and we can use another font for the next line. So I'm going to duplicate that, Control J or Command J, and I can type over that best-selling, and then I can drag, then I can duplicate that to Control J or Command J, then type over that, then move that to the next line and double click, study guide. So I'm going to change that to study guide. So now I have the three lines, and I'm going to make sure that I actually, so I can adjust the position. You can always center the text relative to that badge. So you can select all the three, and of course you select the badge also, and then you can center it in the option bar. So the next line is bonus inside. So let me add that, and I'm going to make that very small. #1 best-selling guide, bonus inside, and drag that to. So we are going to center that because we need to make sure that the text are actually centered relative to the seal. So you can select all of them and then click on this, and you can see they are all centered on the seal. So I can adjust this one, drag to the top, drag to the top, and we have that. And now if I zoom back out, you can see we are done with this design, and then it looks okay. So we can save this as educational book cover. So you can make any necessary arrangements, but this design looks good. And then we are going to save it as a PSD, and then also save the JPEG version, and we are done. So the details, they are all in the exercise folder. You can follow along and then do the same thing, just design this, and then you'll be able to design any, at least an educational book that is close to this. So this is the end of this video. So in the next video, we are going to design a biography or a memoir book cover. So I hope you like this video. On to the next video.